On Chelsea, though, before we move on to some of the other subjects, they are looking at increasing a bid to £75 million for Caicedo from Brighton. What are you saying, Have Hope? You need a new midfielder. 75 million for Caicedo. Good business?
I mean, my mom always say that you shouldn't pocket watch. So you shouldn't always count someone else's money, And my thing is 75 mil for Caicedo is crazy. That's mad. Because my thing is that there's a guy who won the best young player award at the World Cup called Enzo, and he would walk. Chelsea's main thing is getting a DM and a world-class DM because, you may need to replace Kanse. Caicedo, he's good. He's all right. He doesn't excite me, And the issue with Chelsea is I just think that the transfer strategy is vibes. And when you now hear that Todd Bowley is now in Twitter spaces listening to Twitter fans and so forth, that doesn't really fill me with much kind of, vibrancy, So my thing is, no. Okay, you know what, Terry? No. 75 mil for guys. No. Just no. Come on. So no. So sorry. No. I mean, I know I was going to run, but let's just be straight direct. No. Come on. No.
I mean, he's a good player, though. I mean, I'd want him at Man United. I wanted him at Man United
for 75 mil.
I didn't say for 75 mil, but I think he can. I think he can move the needle at most of our football clubs, barring Arsenal. I think he'd be a better option than Phillips at City. He'd be the best midfielder right now at Liverpool because they're all struggling. Chelsea, I mean, Zakaria has been your best, but I think Caicedo has proven himself so far to be better, and you've got to pay the premiums because you've got to get him out of a contract and it's January. And I think the reason that you're being charged so much more for these players is because it's January and everyone knows how desperate you are to basically kickstart the engine and try and make the top four. Because if you miss out on the Champions League, it won't limit the spending per se, but it isn't what the investors spent billions of pounds on buying.
No. I mean, yes, he improves. But what you have to ask yourself is, are there no other better options out there? Because isn't so Caicedo is from Brighton, isn't he?
Yes.
So my thing is that is this like Brighton 2.0, Because that's what I said. Like, are you trying to recreate Brighton for Chelsea? Because you can't just be like, okay, let's just go out because I know how these players work at Brighton. No, you're at Chelsea right now. The world, what's it called? As what's that guy? As Tony Montana said, the world is your oyster. The world is your freaking oyster. So literally, go on the globe, South America, Africa. I'm sure there are much better players out there than a Caicedo. Let's see, Enzo Martinez. Crazy what Benfica were asking because you're now looking at 120, 130. But as crazy as that price is, he was playing very well for Benfica before the World Cup. He was one of the reasons Argentina won the World Cup. So if Enzo comes in, crazy price, but at least he's coming in with some international caliber and some weight. So that's 120 mil. At least it's backed up by a amazing World Cup performance. But for Caicedo, I'm like, yes, it improves it, but if you now put 75 mil there, are there now other funds to now go out? Because that midfield needs a whole new revamp. So if it's 75 mil for Caicedo, is there now money left to have another midfielder and another one and another attacker and another right back as well? So that's my.
So when you're saying that if you've got enough money to spend on another midfielder, are you saying that you think that you should go for a midfielder who's maybe 35, 40 million and then invest in another midfielder? Do you feel like the price is too big that it's going to stop you buying other midfielders? Is that what you're saying?
You see, I don't know what's inside this bank account, So I don't know whether it's a case of, send 25 mil and we can spend 120 more. So I need Todd Bowley to talk to me, call me, phone me and say, look, Todd, can I see your bank accounts? How much is left? How much can be spent? Because if it's 75 mil and that's it, hell no. If it's 75 mil and you can spend a lot more on the midfield, okay, let's do it. But my fear is that's quite high. So if the price is that high, maybe this is my fear. Maybe this is the Enzo replacement. Maybe this is, we couldn't get Enzo, so Caicedo. If it is, that's horrible. Because I'm sorry, Enzo to Caicedo, that is a massive downgrade. So I just need to know exactly what is happening.
Massive downgrade? I mean, is Enzo Fernandez that much better than Caicedo?
Yes.
How many Benfica games have you seen of Enzo Fernandez?
No, If no, because I saw let's say Champions League games, because I'm combining what he did in the Champions League for Benfica, who topped their group, with PSG and Juventus. And for me, World Cup tax is heavy for me. It's heavy for me. And that kid coming in, totally changing Argentina's midfield after what happened against Saudi Arabia and being one of the best players at the World Cup and winning Young Player Award, I value that very highly. Of course, Caicedo is good. And I've seen him for Brighton and I'm seeing him for Ecuador. Yeah, he's good, but I'm sorry, I'd rather have Enzo. You know,
the one thing about Enzo though is he's like an all-around midfielder that can do the box-to-box stuff as well as scoring goals. So on the market, technically, he should cost significantly more than Caicedo, who for me, I don't want to limit him too much to just destroyer because I see that he has a decent passing range as well. But I don't think he's going to give you the goals that Enzo would give you. So I would imagine that he should cost more. But like, you don't need to wait around for Enzo Fernandez. Like, I don't think you need to be sitting around pining for this guy either, because Caicedo is a Premier League proven defensive midfielder that could become something really special in the future. So I don't know. I feel like I understand why you would want Enzo because he's more well-rounded, but he's not even really a DM. Like, for me, Enzo is not a DM. And you said you need a world-class DM. That's Caicedo to me. So it just depends on, positioning and stuff like that. But I don't think you need to pine for Enzo, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be very cautious about the whole Enzo Fernandez thing. You mentioned Champions League and World Cup. That's a very small sample size in terms of like what you base a player off. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's had half a season in Portugal. So I think that the prices that are being quoted after. Did he have a good World Cup? He did, but James Rodriguez had a very good World Cup, and we all know what happened there. It's very dangerous to sign players purely based off either half a good season in Portugal plus a good campaign in the Champions League and the World Cup. But also, even if he was like this phenom and brilliant player, I don't even know if he's what Chelsea need. He's not a defensive midfielder. If the idea is that Chelsea need an out-and-out defensive midfielder or a ball-playing defensive midfielder, I don't think Enzo Fernandez is your guy. I think you need to be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, and then also,
who would you sign?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, who would you sign then? Because you're saying fair enough, like Caicedo might not be the one. That's cool, but then who are you gonna sign then? Like, what other midfielders are out there that you think are good enough to come into this Chelsea side and imprint their kind of their abilities onto the squad?
Oof.
Realistically,
what's the name of that guy from Morocco who plays for Fiorentina? Amrabat. He would be superb. Okay. Amrabat would be superb. He'd be superb.
Fair enough. He'd be cheaper than Caicedo.
Yeah, he'd be cheaper, but I think when you look at, again, it comes down to balance and what you're looking for in your team, profiles. For me, N'Golo Kante is not exciting. It's not like, oh my God, N'Golo Kante does anything flashy. But that guy, the way he dispossesses, the way he gets up and down the pitch, Caicedo kind of gives me a bit of N'Golo Kante vibe.
No, don't compare him to N'Golo Kante, man.
Listen,
don't do
look at balance in the team.
You're talking about Kante. You're talking about Kante.
No one's going to be an N'Golo Kante. I get it. But when you look at his strengths and what he brings, it is a similar type of profile. He can ball carry up and down. He can intercept. He can disrupt the play. And he's a nuisance in there. If you get someone next to him who's more fancy or technical on the ball, that's a perfect balance. So I think what you've got to remember with prices as well, we could all agree, is Jack Grealish a £100 million player? I don't think he was. Exactly. But what was he worth to Aston Villa? 100 million. Is Moises Caicedo probably the best midfielder that Brighton have in there right now when you look at age and prime? Yes, he is. So to Brighton, it's 75 million because how effective and how important he is to Brighton. So I think there's a lot of context when you think about it here. But if Chelsea got him, I actually think in terms of what you need right now, Kovacic is a brilliant player, by the way, but you can't rely on him 38 games a season. He's your up and down legs man, breaking lines. Kante can do the same thing. He's been out all season. You got Jorginho, who's not that type of player. So who have you got that really provides your legs apart from Zakaria, who's on a loan for 6 months? Caicedo suits the profile, bro.
Yeah. Listen, I think Caicedo would be an excellent signing. The money's very high, but it's going more and more that way. There's more money on its way to the Premier League with new owners to Liverpool and Man United. And, Qatar want to pump more money in. The TV companies keep pumping in more. Get used to the fact that the price is going to keep rising. But what Chelsea are doing is smart. They're giving these players long contracts. It's smart on one side. That means you spread the cost, which means you're not actually Chelsea have actually spent £70 million only on players so far. The rest of it is spread over 6.5 to 7 years on average. How that goes wrong is if they change the project direction, they've got to rebuy again. That's when it becomes a real issue. But you cross that bridge when you come to it. There's a super chat here that says Caicedo is a pivot player. He isn't a DM. Hasn't played 6 months in the Prem in the same system. Cucurella looked world class at Brighton, and that's fair. Look, I think everybody gets overly tacticoed when it comes to, is it a DM? They sit in a double pivot? Let's just rephrase it: defensive minded. You know, that way you're safe. You know what I mean? Because everybody, listen, you could ask 10 people to describe what a CDM is, and you'll get 10 different descriptions, which is actually worrying. And it's because of all those idiots. You know, the tacticos on Twitter that like do threads and they make it sound like it literally sounds like Dr. Strange has written a thesis on how to do stomach therapy on somebody. It's like, bro, football is never that complicated. Another super chat here says El Sakiko Moyes Lampard will be a better game. Lots of people are forgetting that with the new Champions League rules next season, 5th might be good enough. Spurs, Klopp, and Chelsea will try their best to get 5th. Is what's been said there by Bison Beast. That could certainly happen. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons and subscribing to the Football Terrace.
Actually, can I just ask G one quick thing?
Yep.
I'm begging you, because I've just heard these rumors around the campfire. I am begging you and I'm pleading with you. Mount is linked to Liverpool. And there's a campaign I'm launching. No. Let me finish. Let me just finish.
Okay,
So there's a campaign I'm launching. It's called Operation Grom. Operation Gets Rid of Mounts. Grom. So I need Mount out of the club. I think Mount would be a great, amazing fit for Liverpool, and I think he would improve you. I am begging you. Can you please put in a bid for Mount and take him off our books? I'm begging you.
Why does everyone think that Mount would be a good player for Liverpool? I've seen this quite a lot. Why Liverpool? Why not Arsenal? Why not Man United? Why not Man City?
I tell you why. As a midfielder, yeah, he runs. Yeah, your midfielders just run.
I can run.
He's good.
I can run.
No, he's good. You don't have the energy like Mount. Klopp is going to turn him into a world-class midfielder. I am positive.
Look, one thing I'll say, I guess, before we move on is right now you got to realize Liverpool are in the mud and their midfield is even lower than that. So anybody who looks like they've got some ounce of energy, straight away, it's like, that's the guy. We need to get this guy in because he's got energy and he can do this, that, and the other. Mount, he might be good for Liverpool. He's not I don't want Mount at the football club. Chelsea can keep him and maybe work something out with him. I just don't feel like he's a player that Liverpool should be going in for. He's just not really that kind of player.
G, you're missing out, man. You're missing out, G, man. I think it's a bad decision.
We'll see.